Hope you're having a great start to your Tuesday, March the 5th here. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi here, 9 News Plus, taking a look at your Colorado weather forecast. Got a fair bit to get into, although the next couple days for us here in the Denver area are fairly quiet. It's later in the week when things get a bit more interesting with the storm system that'll kind of last for most of Thursday and Friday, and that could bring us a few inches of snow into the metro area. In the meantime, for us here in across the mountains, I think that's where we're still seeing some light snowfall that'll kind of dissipate as we head through the rest of the day today. Tomorrow, it looks pretty quiet in the mountains. Then we get some snow again for us on Thursday and Friday. And then this weekend, looking warm and dry for us. So let's start things off by taking a look at the high country where we are seeing some light snow. It was a bit steadier and heavier earlier on this morning, but still seeing some of that out there. In fact, kind of look at the bottom of your screen, kind of looks like almost a bit of sun snow out there at the Eisenhower-Johnson tunnels. Loveland ski area on the left, and on the right, of course, that's the kind of beginning of the tunnels. Still a little bit of light snow flying up there. Meantime, for us here in Denver, we're just getting a few clouds overhead. Things pretty quiet for us in the metro area right now. Headlines: light snow for today. It's mainly the mountains, but that'll kind of gradually come to a close as we head later on through the day today. Little or no additional accumulation, not a ton more to go. It's dry in Denver through tomorrow, and then our next storm Thursday and Friday. Temperatures right now are mostly in the 30s and 40s along the front range and through the metro area, 20s and 30s into the high country, and highs today right around 50 degrees for us. We'll see clouds increase this afternoon. Nothing coming from those clouds, but we will see those again, those clouds increase. We'll get later on through the afternoon. High temperature right around 50 degrees. Of course, by the way, today, Super Tuesday, so make sure you get out and vote. Weather will not be a factor in that, so upper 40s, low 50s. And by the way, our average high for today is exactly 50 degrees, so this is this is average for this time of year. Highs in the 30s and 40s for us into the high country. Speaking of the high country, HCD Doppler radar showing us some of that snowfall right now over the western slope, but you might notice that's kind of dissipating right now with some of that light to moderate snowfall that we've had coming to a close. And we'll see some of that snow can gradually wean on down as we head through the day today. Northern Mountains seeing some light snowfall. That's also coming to a close with just a few flakes flying up there, but little or no additional accumulation. It's mainly north with that snowfall. And still has some gusty winds in place, but again, I think the snow gradually ends today, and any snow that we've got should come to a close by tonight. For us here in Denver, just a little bit in the way of some gusty winds. Otherwise, we're mostly okay. We're talking about winds up to maybe 30 miles an hour for us here in town, but those winds really not that big of an issue. Now, for tonight, we'll drop down to seasonal. It'll be seasonal and quiet. Mostly clear skies, low temperature around freezing for us here in town. Lows tonight, 20s, 30s, eastern plains, teens and 20s into the high country. For tomorrow, be a few degrees warmer, but it's actually going to be mostly cloudy. So despite the fact that we add more cloud cover, we're actually going to jump those highs by about 10 degrees, kind of get underneath a very weak ridge of high pressure, and that will bring those temperatures up a few degrees forward tomorrow. So just worth noting that, again, it's kind of that give and take a little bit, right? We get a bit more cloud cover. It's mostly mid to high level cloud cover, so this isn't going to be kind of that thick low level cloud cover. That's why we're going to be able to get up to near 60 degrees, close to 10 degrees above average, by the way, for tomorrow. But again, you will notice those clouds. Now, looking ahead to our next storm system, this is the one kind of thing to note here. This doesn't look to be a huge storm for most of the metro area and throughout most of eastern Colorado, but we do get some mountain snowfall into the picture on Thursday, and then that'll kind of gradually push east. And by Thursday night, probably started some rain for us in Denver. This will kind of depend on timing a little bit, still a little far out, and enough computer forecast models that differing that we still don't really have a great idea about how much snow we're going to be getting here in Denver. But I do think that it's going to snow most of Thursday night into Friday morning. So that Friday morning and Friday evening commute in particular looks like it could be a bit slippery for us here in Denver. Now, let me show you some of these. Now, this is not my forecast. Look at the top left-hand side of your screen there, folks. That's GFS model. That is one computer forecast model showing, frankly, too high of a number. I don't think we're talking about 7 inches of snow in downtown Denver. It's not impossible, but it is a possibility that we get half a foot or more of snow in Denver. This seems a bit more likely. Notice again, top left-hand side of your screen, Euro. This is a different computer forecast model. Again, that's what I was saying, where there's a fair bit of difference between the computer forecast models and the European model, showing kind of 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches worth of snowfall in Denver, more on the west and south sides of town. This looks to be an upslope driven event, so that means places like Golden, Arvada, down through Castle Rock. That's where you're going to end up with some of those highest totals. But I do think we're going to need to break out the snow shovels, and this will be mainly Thursday night and Friday morning. And again, I do think we'll have some impacts to that Friday morning commute. That's the way it's looking right now. Again, all it takes is a little bit of snow to create those slippery roads, and I do think we'll have enough cold air, enough moisture that we will see some of that for us on Friday morning in particular, and then maybe again on Friday afternoon. 7-day forecast, temperatures mostly in the 30s and 40s for the next, I should say mostly in the 50s and 60s for the next few days, the exception of those 30s and 40s on Thursday and Friday. Remember, we leap forward with those clocks this weekend, which means we'll be talking about 7 p.m. sunsets this time next week. Right now, by the way, our first 6 p.m. sunset of the year is coming up on Friday. Next 7 p.m. sunset comes up next Sunday. So it's going to look notably different. That said, of course, our sunrises will be about an hour later, which means that we'll be talking about 7:10, 7:15 a.m. sunrises this time next week. Now, I'm going to close things out on a positive note as we hit 100% of our season date average for the first time since early November in terms of our snowpack across the state of Colorado. Now, that doesn't mean every river basin is running at or above average. In fact, it means that the Yampa River Valley is doing really well right now. I'll say the Colorado Basin is doing quite well as well. But we do have across our southern mountains still a bit of a notable deficit in terms of that snowpack for us in the Rio Grande, San Juan River basins, and even the Arkansas Basin as well. So we definitely need a good storm for our southern mountains. Our next storm looks like it'll favor the southern mountains a little bit more than our northern mountains. So maybe some good news may catch up a little bit in terms of some of those numbers for our southern mountains. But definitely could use a storm or two for our southern mountains. Worth noting that our peak snowpack date is April the 8th, so it's normally the first or second week of April that we get the highest snowpack numbers before that starts to melt on off. So we still got over a month to go in terms of that peak snowfall snowpack, but we're at 100% of our season to date average. So that's good news, but still some more time to go. And really, when it comes to snowpack, and this is probably a separate segment, but when it comes to snowpack specifically, the key thing is how quickly it melts on off. So you can have, for example, you might remember that the 2019-2020 snow season was awesome. We got a ton of snow that winter, but it melted off like this. It melted off in the span of about 6 weeks, and by late May, we had basically no snow cover left because May was so warm that year, and that led to the awful fire season that we had back in 2020 with the East Troublesome Camera Peak fires. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen here, but the point is how quickly that snowpack melts off will be the ultimate key coming up this spring. So you can have a ton of snow. That doesn't necessarily mean that staves off summer wildfires, if that makes any sense. So anyways, shorter term perspective for us here in Denver as we head over the next couple of days, it stays dry, it stays mild. It's not until the end of the week that we get some snow, but at this point looks like a light to maybe moderate snow event for us here in the Denver area. There's a decent chance we end up with a couple inches of snow, which I would call an impactful snow. 2 inches or more of snowfall for us coming up on Thursday night, Friday morning seems pretty likely to me, but we'll keep you posted on that. Still some disagreement as I was showing you the computer forecast models. Mountains, light snow today that'll gradually dissipate as we head through the day and this afternoon and to early this evening. More details for you come up at 9 News at noon and at 2 p.m. here on 9 News Plus, and then we'll have Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin in at 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10 on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm 9 News meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus. Have a great rest of your Tuesday.